All right, everybody. Vinnie Fisher here, the founder and CEO of Fully Accountable. We are here on our show, The Total CEO, with my friend, dear pal, and guest, Tony Grebmeier. Tony, how are you, brother?
Today? I'm good, man. Good to be back.
And so Tony is the founder, one of the co-founders and CEO of Ship Offers. But we're here to talk about something a little different today, right, brother?
I love it. No, I think it's a great topic that all people, all entrepreneurs, business owners, anybody going on a journey in life, which we all are, something that's very dear to my heart, which is helping people get unstuck and literally help them to find their path in their journey.
All right, cool. So I want to talk about this idea of destroying excuses, right? And so you had this wonderful epiphany of creating some curriculum by things you've done in your life. You took me and some people through it. Right in the middle of that, dad dies and some all things. But one of the greatest things I get out of that is every day I do a little reverse engineering of my day before. It's one of the greatest little things. Like, I think I'm more productive because I sit and rewind the clock and measure my day before.
You just hit what most people never do. You just hit the magic button. If everybody didn't do one thing but reflect on what they did yesterday, they would celebrate more wins moving forward in life. They would be able to say, hey, you know what? This didn't work. See, all I really look at it is it's testing. I just got to go back and look at what I did yesterday in the test laboratory. What worked, what didn't work, how could I improve? Well, if we never go back, how are we ever going to get better? Because we're always constantly aiming forward, right?
Amen, brother.
So I love the reflection is really what it is. It's the importance of looking inward first, getting honest, and at the core is where all the excuses come from.
Yeah.
Right?
That's the truth.
So
okay, let me ask you a question. I want to get into the details of your course. I want to talk about your event, but real quick, there are some people, believe it or not, who don't know you.
There's a lot of people who don't know me.
I mean, you're famous, but only to your mother and 3 other people. So could you just in
my own mind?
So could you just give us a little bit of commercial of the Tony G?
Sure. There's two versions. The world sees one and my family sees another. My family knows me as the person who struggled with addiction, who literally tore everybody's life apart, almost ended a marriage. Kids didn't want anything to do with the dad. In the midst of running, a lovely business, 2 of my childhood friends, literally skip out on them. And, I didn't really want to live. I didn't really have a passion for living life. And the day I attempted suicide, 10/9/8, I received a phone call in the midst of that attempt at suicide. And it was a buddy of mine. He says, I'm coming to see you. And I put everything away quickly. And I'm like, all right, if I can get this guy out of my house as fast as possible, I can go back to doing what I wanted to do at that time, which was see you later. And he knocked on the door. His name is John. He's just a really dear friend of mine. Not only did he save my life, we've done a lot together in life to help each other. He wrapped his arms around me and he gave me a big hug. And he says, Tony, your life has meaning and purpose, but what you're doing right now doesn't. I'm like, really? You didn't think my life had any purpose right now? And in that context has really opened my eyes that I do have a lot of abilities that I wasn't using. And I was running from everything with a bunch of excuses. So the reason the course was created is first, I'm an authority in what? My life. I've been in this container 44 years, so I know a little bit about the excuses that I make up. And
that is a good looking container, by the way, might I add.
Thanks, brother. But what it took me a while was the context of that conversation in my life. So from 10/9/8, that's, October 9, 2008, until the time I finally got sober, which was 12/15 of 08, I did a lot of work on myself and learned a lot about who I was. And I realized that there was something missing. In that moment, I think I was too weak. I think I was too afraid to ask for help. I think I had run up credit card debt and everything was going wrong, marital issues, family issues, addiction issues. And I was like, when that credit card slip comes in the mailbox and it's because you applied for another one and they're like, sorry, we can't give you any more money. You start realizing well, then what what else am I going to do? My wife, said, hey, you know what? It's time to tell me this. And this was the thing that I ran upstairs and I was really emotional about. She says, I can't do this anymore, Tony. I've tried to save you, I've tried to do everything possible for you. But in that moment, I just got to tell you, I don't love you anymore. And I know that she had to say that for herself to save her, because I was really good at stringing her along and everything that was going on. So when she said that to me, I was like the first time that I had heard that. I've always been the person to say that to somebody, because that was what I was good at, hurting you. So long story short, who I am as an entrepreneur, passionate about helping people, to literally destroy their excuses that hold them back. All
right. So thanks for the commercial. I'm going to do everything I do great, which is stop people mid-sentence and ask hard questions. So give me, what's the number one excuse you hear over and over from people?
Well, I think the number one, you just have to own this, is I don't have the money. I don't have the money. The second one is I don't have the time. The third one is, maybe later when things are better. Those are like the other excuses that you begin to hear. And what you realize is time and money are never an issue. It's your motivation that is. Right? So when people say I don't have the money, well, look, that's why when you call that person back the other night, they're at a concert, they're out with their friends, they've got a limo, everything's great. You're like, wait, you didn't have any money. You're like, well, I found some to go to this. See, everybody wants to live the lifestyle, but they don't want to live the life, which is, what we just talked about in the beginning, which is reflecting on why these patterns keep showing up in your life. Why do these habits keep forming? Why every relationship that you get into ends the same exact way? Like, why, when you wake up in the morning, you look at that person in the mirror and you flat out lie to that person? Yeah, that's the only person you should really work on being honest with first, because if you can do that, everything like a transformation will happen in your life, because then you can begin.
All right. So help me. So I don't have any money. I've got no time, and I don't know that now's the right time to do it. So let's just joke through that for a second. Well, let's help our people.
Cool. You want to sell your Xbox? You want to sell your PlayStation? What's in your garage that you could go take to some commission place and sell it for the weekend? I mean,
all right, hold on. But you started with something I think was powerful. Stop lying to yourself in the mirror. So how do you do that? Like literally, how do you put some skin on that and honestly have what I would consider a board meeting with yourself? Like, how do you do that?
A couple different ways. I think number one is you really have to spend some time asking yourself, what is it that you really want out of this life personally? And number two, what are you willing to do to get that? And if you're not willing to have that type of a conversation, how are you ever going to find your why? How are you going to find your purpose? How are you ever going to literally live out this life, the one that you've been given, to its fullest?
So do you start with like unearthing things you've been lying about?
Yeah, to yourself first and foremost. Yep.
Right.
And a lot of times people don't think they lie to themselves. Let's just talk about your diet. Let's talk about going to the gym and working out. Let's
not talk about my diet or my working out. You've apparently been speaking to my wife, but
like be serious about it for a moment. When you say to yourself, like, I don't have time to go to the gym.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Let's take the 24 hours that you live every day, just like all of us, and let's break it down into how many hours are you actually working? You're like, well, I work like 8 to 10. I'm like, okay, but how many hours are you really working? Like not thinking or talking or acting like you're working, but like really working on tasks. See, people are busy to look busy. And I tell people, like, you got to get down to your day. And that's why you were saying, like, I think the living a fulfilled day framework, which is super helpful, which is where you got to look at what you were doing yesterday. And you can start to see these little patterns come up. You're like, I have 2 hours here. I've got 4 hours here. Man, I've got 7 hours in my day, every single day, that I could literally do anything with. And what am I doing with it? I'm wasting it. I'm making excuses. I'm saying that I don't have any time to go to the gym. That's why my belly, I can't even look down and see my toes. It's sticking out. It's where I don't have any luxury of one-on-one time because I'm so busy giving it to everybody else. That's all bull. It's just all bull. And you don't really know that until you actually do some lessons that I just will give you that are easy. First, just grab a piece of paper and look at yesterday, from the time you went to bed until the time you woke up. List down everything you did, but backwards, not forwards. So backwards, just list it all out. And what happens is you're going to begin to see some gaps in your day. Now, if you look at your calendar, it looks a lot different than that day. Your calendar and what you did actually look different. And then one of the things that I think is super important.
Not completely different, but different, right?
No, I think it's completely different. I think when people really look at it, you're like, oh, I got ice cream with my wife. That wasn't on my day. That just happened to be there. That was an available time slot that somehow opened up. But then how come you didn't go to the gym, but it was on your calendar?
Ouch.
Right? Because
stop getting personal, man.
But these things just start showing up. So once you really begin to see, which I call is the awareness, the reflection exercise, you begin to see like, you know what? I have been making a lot of excuses. And then the number 3 thing that I think is super important is, why do you make excuses? Like, so what reason you're lazy? You say that you want it, but you're not doing anything about it. And so you're stuck in a trap that you've created for yourself, and you need to have somebody come in and show you, hey, I see your blind spots. I'm going to give you a new way to look outside of that vehicle, which is the car or container you're in going down the road. And I'm saying, now that you know it's there, the first time it's a blind spot, the second time it's a choice. You're just making those choices, and they're starting to add up for you, specifically the way that you are letting them take control of your life.
You know, and our language patterns can be extremely divisive, right? So like, you know, I've always said from stage, sweating is reserved for running from the police or lions, not for like physical workout. And I think I've used that excuse as a way to not establish a routine of exercise. Like, this is my main struggle now, is developing a habit of exercise. And what it requires me to do is to get my big old fat body up every day doing something. And so,
Sean Stevenson, just one of my coaches, a dear friend of both of ours, he says, you know, you should be trying to find one thing you can do every single day. One thing, just, you know, if it's 10 push-ups, 50 push-ups, sit-ups, you know, if it's jumping jacks, if it's to go for a walk, you know, do some, you know, little body mind yoga real quick. It doesn't matter. Just do something to move your body.
Yeah.
He goes, and he lifts up his shirt and he goes, see, you can't get this by not moving. You have to physically, you know, these are his abs. He's like, you can't get these without moving. He's like, I don't have an excuse. What's your excuse?
So I actually am inherently lazy, but I think that's what makes me actually sometimes a very good entrepreneur.
100%.
Because I don't want to do certain things twice. So I'm going to work really hard to make sure I do it really well, so I don't have to do it again.
And I think the other thing that you should look at is you don't want to get in too much of a routine. Because I can promise you, if you start logging everything down on your calendar, you're like, I want to do this, this, and this. And then you'll look back in the reflection exercise and you're like, I didn't do that, and that. Because you've already said to yourself, I'll do it later.
Right.
So the intention is really on setting each day up for success. And you do that by like some non-negotiables, some things that you have to get done today that you've set out that you really want to work on. It can be one thing. It can be 2 things. It can be 3 things. But you have to do it in such a way that you also identify the habit of the day. We all make excuses, and we also have good and bad habits. That's why Living the Fulfilled Day has that little exercise of list one habit, good or bad, that you have right now going on in your life.
Yeah, so my bad habit would be that I'm not exercising daily, right?
Yeah, so you want to be around for your wife and your kids?
I do.
I just was at the doctor today in EKG, and they're like, you know, just checking my heart. You know, I'm 44 years old. I want to be around. So I have to remind myself that my excuses control me. And they start in me. They start in my head, and they're just lazy components. And so if I really, really work on what my why is. So what's your why? Like, I'll ask you, what's your why in life?
So, you know, I don't believe that I can extend life. I don't think I have the authority over that, but I think I can make the quality of my life better.
So yeah, by having a why, something that you focus on is going to motivate you a little bit extra.
Yeah, I think that I don't want to repeat the pattern of behavior that just took my dad down his early loss in life. And he died early because he didn't put any effort into physical exercise and muscle development. And I don't want that for my family.
So now that should be either a great example to follow, or you'll make an excuse why not to. And I'll tell you, I literally set out to be like my father. I wanted to be a rich millionaire. I saw my dad have this luxurious lifestyle. He traveled everywhere and had everything that he going for him. But I watched him go from a millionaire to broke to a millionaire to broke. And I said, I'm not going to do that the second time. See, I got to that one status and I lost it all. And then I've been rebuilding it. And I said, now that I've seen the pattern, I've seen the habit, Now, what I am doing is saying to myself, what were the good qualities that my dad had?
Right.
He had an incredible work ethic. So that's something that I model after. Well, he was really poor with his money. So that's something that I'm not modeling after. I'm going to my mom for that, my mentorship and my mom. So when you look at your father, you know, he was your dad. He brought you into this world. Good guy, bad guy. That's whatever it is. However, you now know what not to do because he was the example in front of you of your health. And you're like, okay, cool. You watched him go with high weight gain, low weight gain. Dad, you can't do this. You began to say those things to yourself. And did any of that seep in? Did any of those things start coming up where you're like, you know what? I need to listen to my advice. See, I'm really good at giving. I suck at taking it. And you want to destroy an excuse, start speaking things that you're actually doing. Otherwise, don't speak on them.
Well, you've now figured out one of my secrets to our show. I have people on here who are helping to counsel me for the things that I need. So I want to take a quick deep breath. I want to talk about, you've developed some material. So I can go where to find that.
So I have two programs. One is a 30-day program called destroyingexcuses.com. And you get new curriculum every single day. You get an accountability partner and a coach. And we walk you through modules, 4 different modules in a 30-day accountability group.
Awesome. And so we'll place that, all you listeners, in our comments section, and we'll help give everyone access to that here right while we're talking.
Sure. And the next show starts up April 10th. And I call it a show because you got to come live every single day. You got to be willing to play full out. No hiding in the stands. You got to get into the game. You got to play right away. And the less excuses you make and the more action you take. I will tell you this, the testimonials, what people have been able to do in such a short period of 30 days is unbelievable.
Yeah, I was just talking to one of your fellow students who graduated from an earlier class, Nate Kennedy, talking about how this quarter of his life has been the most productive quarter he has ever had in business. He's clear, he's focused, he's dropping things off his list that aren't congruent, and he gives a lot of attribution to your program.
No, I love it. I tell everybody, I just told somebody today, I said, hey, I just provided some work for you. You did it. You know, I just provided is some curriculum. You had to take the action.
That's
and
awesome.
Number 2 is my very first live Destroying Excuses live event. It's going to be
awesome. When is that?
April 7th, 8th, and 9th. So all the people who are
hold on. Where is it?
In Denver, Colorado.
Okay.
And all the people who are basically attending will be students in that next course that's launching on the 10th. So
all right. So I want to give a gift. Now the gift's going to be 2 parts. Part 1 is, I'll explain it here and break it down in 2 pieces. I want to give a gift of sponsoring someone to come to the event. So I am going to post up a link where somebody, or they can comment back to me. If you want that gift, I am paying your way right now, telling you that. I will also then, Tony, follow up to my list, letting them know, because this is a live show. So I want to let them know about this. But I want to, if there's room, can I reserve one of those spots?
We have 6 spots left, and
well, you have 5 now because I'm taking one. So can I have one of those spots?
Yes, I'll save one.
Give it to somebody. You know, I would be there because I love this, and you know I have a family commitment. But I think this is amazing, and so I want to give it to somebody. Can I do that?
Please do. Yeah.
All right, cool. So, you know, as part of the show, I was
and I'll make you a double down deal.
All right.
I'll give you 1 more spot. So I'll give you 2 to give away, and I'll tell you why. Because if you're listening to Vinnie Fisher, not only is he one of my coaches and my mentors, but he's somebody who's been through a lot and was able to be in the hospital plus 100 days last year with his dad, not for himself, write a book, work on his 3rd book right now, run a company, launch a software platform, and finds a way to do these things with others. And to give up his time, I want to help give up a spot and give it to somebody who really follows you passionately, who really does want to come and who's committed to being coachable, who's open. It's a little personal development. I think it's really framework that you're going to be able to take and apply to any area of your life. And I know that you've done the work. I see the journal. I see the transformations in others. And I just want to support that. I think your community is very special. It's near to dear to my heart. So I want to support that and give 1 more up.
All right. Well, that's cool. So I love that. All right. So remind everybody real quick how we find that.
So there's two .coms. So one is destroyingexcuses.com, which is the 30-day program. And then destroyingexcuses.live is the live event. It's the April 7th, 8th, and 9th in Denver, Colorado. You got to arrive Friday night by 7 and you got to leave. Can't leave early. That's the deal. 4 o'clock on Sunday, you got to walk out. You can't go home any earlier. Prefer you to stay on site. We got a special deal with the hotels. It's going to be an amazing event. People are literally coming together to work on themselves and to be of service to others.
Love it, dude. Hey, listen, we're going to wind this thing down. We will provide links here because this is a live show. So we got to give somebody something. So we will have those. We'll typing away as we probably speak. But other than that, we will see one of our tribe members, one of our guests is going to be on me, and we'll figure out got to get on there and reserve our spot. And it sounds like you guys are offering up another one. So the only reason you're not going here is because you're going to make an excuse. So we'd love to have you, and we'd love to have you there. Tony, I love you, brother.
Hey, thank you so very much. Have a wonderful day, and thanks for letting me talk to your audience.
See you, pal.